So we should be now showing up live. So we'll talk for a moment here to let everything catch up. But we are super excited. Today we're going to be talking to Sean from Overland Vehicle Systems.
Looking forward to it, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for coming and joining with us. And we'd love to hear how you started Overland Vehicle Systems, if you could walk us through it.
Well, that's a long kind of drawn out. I said the story of actually starting the company isn't that big. The motivation is actually more probably of an interest than actually doing this. But and I'll give you a little color on that, just so you know. I used to be the president of a company called TMG. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of that or not, but it stands for Trans-American Manufacturing Group. It's part of the full parts, depending on the circles you guys are familiar with. They call it the evil empire, or they, whatever. But so I was in charge of all the manufacturing companies. So, I had Procom, Smittybilt, Poison Spider, G2, Rubicon Express, LRG, Procom wheel, tire, suspension. And so I've been in the off-road community for ever. And so running that organization, and then getting bought out by Polaris. And then they had kind of different direction for the leadership there. And so they wanted to kind of take it to a different direction. And so I kind of sat back, and I wasn't included in that new direction. A couple of us guys that were, pretty, I guess the leaders of the organization weren't involved. So long story short, I sat back and said, what is the opportunity? Where do I think the market's growing, and what I see the potential in terms of getting, being able to start a company and address the opportunity. And so I looked at the overland space, and as part of our Smittybilt option, that was probably one of the fastest growing product lines we had. I mean, we were selling overlanding products, our trailers and our tents and our refrigerators, probably 200-300% over prior year versus 20 to 30% increases, which are kind of normally a good increase. And we couldn't address the market fast enough, even though we were a pretty sizable company. And so I said, hey, there's an opportunity, I think, to build a good quality product, address what maybe Smittybilt's trying to do from a price point standpoint, at least kind of being able to offer that, but then, make sure we have a fuller product offering. What I thought is important for the overland guys in terms of, our tent strategy and our awning strategy, in terms of, the features that we offer and the value propositions that we include in that product. So, and not charge for it, so, on a soft-sided tent, for example, we got, Smitty, particularly at the low end, and you've got a Tepui, Ottoman, full aluminum one at the top end. And, I'm trying to build something that I think can compete with that Tepui in terms of features and benefits, but try to stay a little closer to the Smittybilt price point. And so really trying to provide a good value for the customer. At the end of the day, as we were talking prior to you kind of starting this, my ultimate goal is just making a great product for the customer. They have a great experience with it. And if we can make $1 at the same time, we'll be happy.
That's awesome.
Plan. Yeah, definitely. Very cool.
Yeah.
So, and so the other thing I'd add to this is that, we're trying to be a very strategic solution in the overlanding space. All right. So, and I don't want to kind of give out my secret sauce to it, but, the depth of our product offering today and where it's headed is super critical for me to make sure that customers come in and they have confidence with our products, and they can expand into other products that we offer, our air inflation, our recovery, our tents and our awnings and everything in between. So
that's very cool. So it's more of a a more of a complete solution and not just random little pieces.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Makes sense.
That's to me is the most important. We want to have a relationship with our customers for a long time,
Mm,
and I learned that, from, the Smittybilt days as an example, that these guys, get behind the brand, they support it. And they want to make it really all one brand. They feel comfortable with it. Once it solves whatever opportunity or issue they have, then they get behind it. And that's all we want to try to do is if we can solve solutions out there for these guys as well, and, give them a good product.
makes sense. Yeah, I was looking at your onboard air solution. It looks really comprehensive. It looks like quite a great kit.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And that simplifies off-roading. So you guys, airing down and airing up is, off-roading 101. I mean, you're constantly having to do air management. And so having the ability to deflate all 4 tires at the same time, depending on your timing, we sell those little, tire deflators as well, but, the Taj Mahal is being able to manage all of that at the same time, and you can be doing other things.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I just pieced together a kind of DIY version of it. There's
Yeah.
just a bunch of hoses, but your system with the bracket and everything and the regulator built in, that was the trick. Like me and Jack have been talking about, like, how do you automate the process more? And the regulator was the one trick where it's like, wait a minute, that's really smart.
Yeah. So between that and, right now we're using the AirB compressor. It's kind of the driver. And we're going to be coming out with our own, but that AirB compressor that has a pressure cutoff switch. So when you're, when the regulator is acting, it starts to say, hey, I'm at 42 or 35 PSI. It stops the pressure and it turns off the compressor. So, I mean, the combination works brilliant. It's really, really cool setup.
Nice. Sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. We've been talking about that, and you kind of talked about the whole package solution. And that was one of those things where, I do a lot of my shopping on Amazon, and as I'm, typing away, suddenly I start to see Overland Vehicle Solutions as a recommendation. So good job there.
Yep. Thank you.
But sorry. Yeah. Overland Vehicle Systems.
Yeah.
And
right.
really
OVS
popped
for
up.
short. Yeah. If you want to use OVS for short, that's really kind of where
for sure.
it's at. But either way.
We're the same thing. We do ODC, Overland Discord channel. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Microdable. But yeah, that's one of those things. At first I popped in and I grabbed the 270 awning, and then I was building my own drawer system, and I was on like drawer iteration 5, and I was like, well, let me take a look at these drawers. So I got the drawers.
Okay,
now you
cool.
got me all locked in, and I'm like,
So
this is awesome.
You're an actual customer. Nice.
I'm an actual customer. I've actually bought it. I'm not, there's no sponsorships. We have fun and we buy the products and we love it. So when I got a response, I was pretty excited.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. And I sent you a little video on our new drawer system. I don't know if you got that or not, but that's one we showed at SEMA, and that thing was, I mean, out of everything that we do, that for some reason was just like getting so much attention.
Yeah. Well, the drawer systems are huge. I mean, we've talked for a long time about fighting the rattle, and with a good drawer system, especially in something like a 4Runner, which is what I'm driving.
Okay, I was going to ask you about that.
You can hear everything. You can hear all the noise. When you've got it in the back of a truck, like you do with your Raptor, that helps with the noise a lot.
Right.
But if you're in a 4Runner or a Land Cruiser or Land Rover, like some of our members are, these, you hear every single noise. So that drawer, we just did a wish list, and my wish list was one of the rolled canvas bags you guys have.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
Because
have you seen those up front?
I think I got to see. No, I haven't seen those in person.
Those are our website. It doesn't do those things justice, to be honest with you. We're going to reshoot all of that stuff. I mean, we shot those. Those are all prototype shots that we shot like 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And so they're just, and we haven't had a chance to go back and redo them, but that's the material and the quality, the zippers, the number 10 zippers. I mean, everything's just really, really heavy duty. I think you're going to be super, super impressed with those.
Yeah, those are awesome. I mean, I love a good tool roll, but that brings a lot of, well, it brings a little bit more of a dynamic setup for it,
Yeah.
right? You have more options, and
Right.
I've,
Well, and I'll give you a little backstory on why these bags are so important to me. I had a Jeep Wrangler, Rubicon, lifted 37s, factory Rubicon gear on it, going through Pritchett Canyon. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Pritchett Canyon or not, but that's it's a beast of a trail in Moab. And we're probably 85% done with it. And I get one of my rear wheels hooked and end up breaking the drive shaft off, my rear drive shaft. And so I'm on this incline and unbolting the drive shaft. So I got my tool bag in the back, and I've got this Husky bag, really well organized, everything kind of in different spots and compartments. And so I'm pulling stuff out and unbolting the drive shaft. Me and actually Greg from Fat Four, he was in front of me, and so he's helping me out. We're both kind of unbolting this drive shaft, and we get it undone. He helps me pull over this ledge. It was probably like a 4-foot undercut deal. I couldn't get any traction. Anyways, going forward, probably put everything back and go forward probably another 20 yards, and one of my front drive shafts break. And I was like, WTF. And I'm now got all my tools back in my Husky bag, and I'm thinking, I'm never going to have to touch these again. I'm throwing shit in there, and it's just a giant cluster. And I was like, and so I broke a drive shaft. I broke my steering linkage. I broke the other drive shaft. I was literally inoperable. I couldn't steer. I had to leave it on the trail overnight. Luckily, my previous life, we were ballers, so, we brought mechanics with us that were on the trail. So those guys came in and, got it back up that next morning. It took us from, I want to say, I think it was about 4:00. It took us until about 1:00 just to get it stationed up far enough from the trail to leave it overnight. And then, went down, and those guys, and we were working the show, the show that they have down there. And anyway, so long story short about these bags, these are, at least for me is I've designed them so I can drop different sections of tools, from sockets to my open wrenches to my screwdrivers and pliers, so that everything's there and quick. And when it rolls up, it's not a cluster. So from personal experience, having to use tools on the trail many times, this makes it just a much simpler way to manage problems.
Yeah, but those rolls, like I've got a couple of things in rolls, but I've slowly been converting everything over, because the problem, like you were saying, with one of those Husky bags is everything's kind of in this black hole.
Yeah.
And it's organized one time until you use it, and then it's not. And with the rolls, a big proponent I found with working on stuff is being able to see what you got. Because you never know, like, a lot of the times, it's, you need a 9/16 or whatever, but sometimes it's, I'm broke, I don't know how to fix this. What do I have in front of me? You just lay it out, take a look at it, and then it helps you put it all back, because everything has a spot.
Everything has a spot. Yeah. Yeah. It solves a lot of problems, and I think from an off-roader, you want to solve problems out there. That's all, from a brand, that's all you want to try to do, is make sure that we're not selling pink steering wheels, right? We're trying to sell solutions for guys like me that have had issues out on the trail.
Yeah, and that's whatever it takes to get back on the trail. That's what you want to do.
Right.
Because who wants to be stuck on the side of the road? You want to be back in motion.
Right, exactly.
So speaking about in motion, let's talk about maybe your first rig, and then what you're
the epic Toyota. Yes. So I had a 1987 Toyota Japanese bed, if you guys are familiar with it or not. But so they had two trucks going on at that time. They had a Japanese bed, which had the lip on the outside, the bed lip, and then they had a regular bed, which is the lip on the inside. So stick shift, no air, no radio, no slider. I was working at a place called Captain Zoom's Truck Accessories. I was probably
Great
19.
name for a shop.
Oh yeah, we had this. God, I wish I had pictures. I have a picture. I don't have it here, but we had to push this Captain Zoom car out every day and put it out in the street. It was our little rolling billboard that we had to put out.
Of course.
And
Yeah.
we had to do installations in front of it. It was an old like Circle K that we had to do installations in the front, and the freezer in the back was our warehouse, our little warehouse spot. So, I mean, literally talking about, old school truck accessories. And so this was in Norco, California. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Norco or not. So, probably the second largest shit kicker place in the world. I mean, we had horses and cows, and I mean, it was just, not much you can do out there, but, fix up trucks. So anyways, so I had this Toyota, I bought it. I was working 2 jobs, believe it or not. I was working there at night. I think I was a busboy at a restaurant down in Riverside. And so, anyway, I got roped into buying a Toyota. It was my first truck. I hadn't owned it. I was borrowing my mom's car and beating the crap out of it. And so I got this truck. So long story short, I bought it and I started to fix it up. So I got wheels and tires, right? So that's kind of the first thing. I had to crank up the torsion bars, which I don't know. I don't even know if they have any torsion bars on most of the cars. The last one I think was the HD prior to this, the 2500 HD GM. But so cranking up the torsion bars and putting a camper shell on it. And I mean, that was my jam for a long time. I had speakers. I never mounted them. I put them in these little boxes and they just kind of bounced around the car every time you would.
I love the speaker box bounce. That's always a good one.
No AC. I remember taking this down to Baja, and me and my buddy riding the Baja trails, and I'm jumping this thing as high as I possibly can, not knowing what could end up happening. You're just kind of going out and just doing the dumbest things you can imagine. But I think that Toyota back then is what kind of gave it its stigma in terms of a long lasting, pretty much indestructible truck. Because I mean, I'm proof that I literally beat the living crap out of that thing and survived.
Yeah.
So,
right. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah. I remember one time driving down to Mexico, and during the summer, and my thermostat is like going up and up and up and up. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm not sure what to do. Right. I'm 19 years old, just, trying to figure out life. And so I turned up the heater, luckily, and that kind of started cooling it down. But it's, it's 120 degrees going through Baja, and we have our heater on full blast to try to cool this thing down. It's one of the memories that stand out with that Toyota.
That sounds miserable.
So listen, it gets better. We didn't talk about this, but that Toyota rolled into an Isuzu Trooper, right?
Awesome.
And so I had an Isuzu Trooper. Same thing, torsion bars. I put a body lift on that thing. I had it on 31s. I had all kinds. I mean, that thing was, if it was powered right, that was an old square body Trooper that, probably early 90s. That thing was super, super, super cool. Just, I remember going to Vegas in this thing. Now I'm like early 20s, like 21, going to Vegas, and it didn't have power. I was getting passed by buses going up hills. That's how bad it was. And then I would come down and pass them, and then they would come back and pass me.
That's awesome.
These hills to Vegas. Yeah, it was a classic. But yeah, I've owned trucks like that forever.
That's awesome. Yeah, the 79 Toyota pickup truck, I feel like, or 89 was the one I had. 89 Toyota pickup truck. That was super fun. Just single cab.
That was mine.
Locking wheels. Yep. Yeah. That was fun.
Yeah. Yeah. That stick shift got you to really kind of be able to rooster in the dirt real easy and drop the clutch, and those are cool trucks.
Yeah, those are fun because you're fully engaged in what you're doing. You're fully engaged in the trail. You're
Yeah.
solely
You're in
mind on
control.
one thing. You're
Oh,
not
yeah.
videotaping outside. You're not,
Yeah.
you need all hands, all feet involved in
Yeah.
what you've got going on. And that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. I
That's where it should
remember,
start.
yeah, that's exactly it. I was wheeling in Johnson Valley. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Johnson Valley, where they do King of the Hammers. And I was in a TJ, and the JK just had come out. And we had, well, this is a company, we were just out wheeling on the weekend. And I was in a TJ on 35s, I think. And going through these trails were, kind of going blank on the name of the trail. Clawhammer, I think it was called, but it got rutted out. And so really, if you had 37s or 40s, you're jamming through this. 35s, you're working your butt off. And so, and it was a stick, and you're kind of wheeling in a rock quarry where you're having a spotter actually go and put the rocks in, and you're moving every 5 feet and resetting and back. I mean, it was just, you appreciate what these guys do, YJ, CJ guys, TJ stick guys, Toyota guys out there compared to what these JKs and JLs and Gladiators can do. I mean, these guys are wheeling. They haven't been pushed yet to until you had a Toyota or a stick shift YJ or TJ.
Yeah, it's a different animal.
It's a different animal for sure. Yep.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, very cool. The next thing we like to ask all of our guests is, what's your overland anthem?
Did I put something in there? I did. I put Social D.
You put Social Distortion.
Okay,
Absolutely.
yeah, Social Distortion. So that's my all-time favorite band. That's what I listen to all the time.
That's awesome.
And so I wasn't sure. I was like, I don't know if these guys even know who Social Distortion is. But
come on.
bro him. Come on. I love those guys.
Yeah. Well, cool. Yeah. So I remember, I mean, you can tell by the hair, I'm pretty aged. But those guys are from Southern California. I saw them when I was 14 or 15-year-old, seeing them at Placentia Boys Club. I'm in Norco, which is half hour away, going to see these guys at a boys club, when you're young, and just, we're pretty lucky, growing up in the 80s, that we'd go to, I won't go into the whole band side of it, but I've seen these guys a ton of times. And so there's 2 bands that kind of stuck with me, Social D and the Cult. And so those are the 2 bands that I rock out to all the time.
Excellent.
That's awesome. Yeah, and absolutely great music. I saw Social Distortion in 2009. I got to go backstage and come out and sing Bro Him with them. It was super fun. Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, that's I was at a restaurant in Beverly Hills, believe it or not. And Mike Ness is sitting at the bar with, Mike Ness, full tat, hair all slicked back, just typical Social D guy, which is obviously lead singer. And he's sitting next to some guy that looked like a lawyer or something, but they were having a pretty in-depth conversation. I didn't want to go bug him, but that's about as close as I've gotten to that guy.
Right on. Well, you did send us a fun picture about your dream build, what you wanted to build next.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us about that?
Well, I think if you're going to be a baller, you're going to be a big baller, right? So a G63 wagon on portal suspension lifted is pretty impressive. And those things have always impressed me. When I was at my previous life, ProComp, we used to sell the company that did the conversion on these, created beds and put an extra axle on it. And so when I saw those things and how they lifted them and how much they were selling for, and then started researching, they're the kind of epic all-purpose four-wheel drive vehicle. So it's not a YJ stick shift by any means, and so it's a lot more comfortable to drive and a lot more appreciative. And with those, I think you get a 4-inch kit, 37-inch tires.
Yeah.
You get all the ground clearance you want. I mean, and you get the heated and air conditioned seats at the same time. You can't go wrong with that.
You can't go wrong with a Geländewagen, but you've got to make sure you drive it for us if you do pick one up.
You got it.
Actually, don't go to the mall, please. I'm begging you. I'm sick of sitting next to lawyers in traffic in them.
Yeah. Well, listen, everything I do, I usually, hurt some way, shape, or form. So in terms of a vehicle. So yes. So if that happens, I'll keep you guys posted.
Awesome. Yep.
And what was the other, you were mentioning there was another project you were taking on. I think it's a Navigator. Yeah.
So I bought a Navigator. So I don't know if you guys know, I'm like 6 kids deep. I have 6 kids.
All right.
So I'm on one. My youngest is like 1.5, believe it or not.
You're brave.
And trust me, I know, dude. I'm not getting any sleep, and it's the most amazing time I've ever had, to be honest with you. I mean, in the beginning, when you're having kids, you're just trying to scramble to survive. You're working on work, you're doing all this other stuff. I mean, your priorities are scattered all over the place. But now I feel like it's just a different experience. So it's cool. So I ended up buying a Navigator a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, about a year and a half ago. Anyway, so I have this Navigator, hauls all the kids, right? So we've got 4 kids that are home. So it's 6 of us driving. It's the only car that's big enough. I looked at a D110, a new one. You can't even put a soccer ball back there. It's so small. And so I was looking, and the only thing that I found that was big enough, and you can put all the baby stuff in the back, was an Expedition or Nav. And so as you can see, I'm more of a Navigator guy than an Expedition guy, based on the Raptor and the G63 and all the other stuff. So I ended up getting this thing, and fast forward about 4 months ago, I didn't mention this to you guys yet. I don't even know if it would come up, but we're an OE supplier to Ford. And so Ford is launching the Bronco accessory line. They're actually launching a bunch of stuff with our products. But they lifted they came up with what they call, I don't even know if I should be able to say, but they had a lifted Expedition at SEMA.
Timberline, right?
The Timberline one, yeah. Oh, so if you guys know, I don't want to be the guy that screws things up, but and loses the Ford thing. But so I looked at that and I said, man, that is bitching. That thing is legit. It's lifted. I have another buddy that lifted his Expedition, and I think he put a 3 or 4-inch kit on it. And I was thinking that would be something I'd like to be able to do. And so, I mean, there's no, and at some point, there's not going to be a need for us to own this Navigator, other than to lift it, put some wheels and tires on it, put our new Mamba aluminum tent. It already has our awning on it, our 180 awning on it. And so put our boxes in the back and see if I can go wheel the shit out of it.
Yeah, there's a couple of guys that are building up the Expeditions. I haven't seen too many Navigators lifted, but I mean, it's the same platform, and
it's the same.
They seem to be very capable.
Yeah. This thing, it's all-wheel drive. It's got the selected, whatever the selected, four-wheel drive, high
the terrain and all that.
Yeah, all the other stuff. Yeah. So super cool.
Awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to see that.
Yeah. I should have put a picture in it, but it's stock now. It has our 180 awning on it.
That's awesome. I love the 270. We've had a few different guys ask in the channel about suggestions for mounting a 270 on the back of a 4Runner. Do you have any ideas for us other than?
The 4Runner is there's not enough space with that rear hatch to lift it up. And so I know a couple of guys that have, and they, this thing ends up sitting 6-8 inches higher than the roof line, just so it can open and deploy. You're better off doing a 180. I think you get as much coverage, for the most part. And you still got that hatch that you can utilize for coverage if you need to. I wouldn't even try, to be honest with you.
That is very honest feedback, and I appreciate that.
Well, and that's what we recommend. I mean, it's just not, I mean, you can do it. I've seen guys do it. But I think, you've got a better solution in the 180, I feel.
Yeah, at the end of the day, if it's more functional with less, I mean, why not?
Yeah, exactly.
I just had a message, somebody asking if they could buy mine, since obviously it's too much for me. We'll see. Chris,
well, you have a 270, so you can walk through it. I mean, I don't know how high you had to put it up to open your door.
So that's the question, right? Is, do we go high? Do we just lose operability? So what I've chosen to do is I've mounted it on the normal brackets that it comes with. So I haven't lifted. I've just got it kind of at the top on. I have a Westcott Designs roof rack. It's up there, and then I just open the Forerunner hatch about 60%.
Yeah, and that makes sense. It
rests on the gas struts. It rests right there, and it's okay. It's fine. Like you said, it's not an ideal solution, but I do love the 270. And for me, I run with a trailer, so I just roll down my back window. I get the stuff that I need to out of the back window, and then most of the rest of my storage is in my trailer. So it's not a showstopper, but I am very seriously considering offering it up to this guy who's asking for it right now. So we'll take a look. We'll see what happens.
Cool.
Oh, sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, next we're going to look at our build picks for this week. And so we'll go with Phil's build pick.
Sure. So I chose a mic from StanceWorks fame. If you're familiar, StanceWorks started out as lowered cars, primarily BMWs, but they've gotten big into the off-road space, and he has this beautiful OBS Ford quad cab long bed, so like the longest truck you can possibly buy, and it's with a 7.3 power stroke diesel in it. It's just a clean build. He hasn't done terribly a lot of stuff to it, mostly just lift tires and then the rack in a tent on the back, and that's about all you need. It's just such a clean truck. He's got a real solid video series that documents some of the stuff they did on the truck, and then everything else they do at that shop is really cool there. The other side project is a 308 Ferrari with a Honda K24 in it, which is insane but cool. So it's a real neat shop to watch, no matter what you're into. If it's anything with four wheels, you'll find something to enjoy over at StanceWorks.
That's awesome. I definitely will check him out. Go do an ad on Instagram for him, huh?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Right on. Well, my pick of the week is Last Line of Defense. And I don't know if you've seen Mike on Instagram. He's got a bunch of followers, and he's got a really great YouTube channel, Last Line of Defense. I first got into him when I was running a Tundra, and he had a lot of suggestions about how to use front runner racks and different things like that. And so I kind of get turned on to his channel. He also is a holster manufacturer in Colorado, so that's pretty cool. I enjoy looking at the stuff that he puts up. He does a really good job of showing everyday carry options and giving people, simple solutions for what he calls weekender landers. So the guys who are getting out on the weekends, like most of the time I'm just more of a weekender lander. Yeah, if I'm honest. But
I honestly think 90% of everybody is that way. We do get guys that come through our facility that are, in Mexico a week, 2 weeks at a time. We do get a couple guys. We had one guy that lives in his rig and basically commutes down to Mexico. And he bought one of our tents. He bought one of our awnings and just bought one of our tents. And he said in 2 years, I think a tent lasts them like 2 years max. He's going through a lot. So he switched from who he was using to us based on his experience with our other products. So So I was pretty excited about that. But anyway, circle back. Yes, seems like
That's awesome.
long weekends seem to be the more functional goal.
Yeah, and it's certainly more common, right? There's most of us who are just still doing that 9 to 5 in order to keep going out and having fun and building our rigs.
Right. Yeah. So I showed you my rig, and it doesn't have my tent or rack on it. I don't know if you guys did. I don't know if you noticed that or not.
I did notice that. I was like, this guy sends me a
Wait a
picture of his
minute.
truck with no gear. Are you kidding me?
Well, you can go on our web. I should have probably sent you a picture. I mean, it's I have, but there's a cam phaser. You guys probably aren't plugged into what's happening with the Raptors, but there's a cam phaser issue. And so when you start these Raptors up, it sounds like a diesel in the beginning, probably 30 seconds, and then it could go longer. So I took mine off to take it into the dealer, because they have to take the cab off, and they literally have to do like major motor work on it. And so I took that off, and then they sent me a letter that they have a program, and I did the program update like a couple of days ago, and it's not solving it. So
yeah, I don't know what is with Ford and phasers, because like I used to have a 2005 Mustang. And same thing, like once you start throwing cams out or whatever, those phasers always are an issue. Like, it's strange.
Yeah, and it doesn't start out like that,
No.
and then all of a sudden it's like, I'm on forums and kind of paying attention, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'm lucky I don't have it. I don't have to worry about it. But over time, you hear something and then you hear it again, and then you're like, I got it.
Exactly. And the wife's going, why are you standing there listening to the truck? Something's wrong. I
swear. Yeah, exactly. And they don't pay attention. They don't know. They don't pay attention to those kind of details. Cool. So that's why I sent you that picture, because that's the way it is as of today.
Okay, right on. Well, we've got a question on the chat right now, and it's from Houston, Texas. And he says he's running an 82 Land Cruiser with the 270 work on a Ford E350 van.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. Yes, yeah. Really, our system, and you're familiar with. I'm assuming you're familiar with the brackets, and we have a pretty open attachment system, and it actually can mount to an aluminum channel, which, like your Thule Yakimas, your front runners, your Rhino racks, and even your Prinsu style racks that have the extrusions on it, it mounts to that. But it also originally was intended to mount Yakima or Thule round crossbars. So you actually get a U-bolt that's included with that. You also get hardware to use it on a channel mount system. So and I get this question we get this question all the time is, will this work on my my E350 or my whatever? And it's really predicated on your crossbars and your racks. And so our system is a very open, friendly install. And depending on what you get in terms of crossbars, if you end up doing tubular kind of cage system or just traditional crossbars or what, you'll have no problem mounting that up. And we do a passenger side, just so you know, we do a driver and a passenger. So you would want to pick the passenger side, so it would open up on that side and wrap around to your back.
So he's saying he has a gutter system on his van. You would have to get some sort of clamp, right?
Right. So the gutter mount system. So he may have the gutter mounts. He needs to get bars attached to that. So Yakima or Thule are a good example of who I would use now. We are coming out with crossbars that are gutter mount. We also are coming out with crossbars that are, the factory rail mounts for like the new 4Runners and stuff. So that's actually going to start. That's going to be in a couple months. Because although I love their product, Yakima and Thule make great products. I just hate referring them to my competitors to go buy parts.
Absolutely.
So, fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah. So we are going to make sure we solve our own problems with our own parts.
That's really great. I love the fact that you guys are really doing the all-rounded approach. He did say that he has actually done custom bars So
Okay, perfect.
he's already got his own bars, so he's ready to
Okay.
go.
Yeah, he should be able to good to go. If there's a channel, then he would slide a bolt in it. If there's not, then he potentially may have to drill holes in his crossbars, depending on how these custom bars are doing.
Well, this is a friend of the show, so I know he will either weld something or attach something, because
Right.
he's actually a trailer manufacturer.
Oh,
So
cool.
he knows what he's up to. That's Chris out of
Nice.
Houston. So very cool. Yeah. I was gonna say I have mine mounted on 80/20,
Yep.
and it's those L brackets. They work really well. You just put one side on one and one side on the other, and you're all set. It's easy.
Yep.
Like you said, it's a real simple. I don't know. You guys have all probably run these before. ARB has a bracket that has all these different angles on it, and it's super cool in their one custom configuration. But
Yeah.
if you're not running with whatever that was designed to be compatible with, it's not great. So I've
Yeah.
always ended up using L brackets, and you guys shipped with L brackets, and I was very happy about that. So
yeah,
keeps it simple.
those are super simple, easy, robust. We actually designed those brackets to be a failure point, versus having the awning fail. So when you get gusts of wind and, the arms, you don't want the arms to snap off, you want the brackets to absorb that. And so, just so it's a cool feature that's built into those brackets.
Yeah, way
That's
easier
pretty
to
cool.
replace a bracket than the entire awning. So,
Yeah,
makes sense.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And let's talk about your roof rack too. You want to start bending everything. I'd much rather do the attachment than the metal that's already there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's expensive these days. I'm between a rack, which could be anywhere from $700 to $1,200, right? An awning could be as high as $1,000. And tent. I mean, it's super important that everything kind of works well and it's made well, and you've got failure points designed in your product, so you're not damaging more than what needs to be damaged.
Absolutely. And they are looking for your website if you want to go ahead and give it a shout out.
Okay. Overland Vehicle Systems with an S at the end. You should be able to find that pretty easily. We have a lot of distributors out there as well, a lot of retailers that handle our products. So you can go through us, or you can throw one of our customers out there, whoever you feel comfortable with, whoever's gonna get the product fast enough to you, or however you want to buy, we're comfortable with that. So
awesome. Well, I went ahead and put that in the chat for anybody who's looking for it. You can find it there. But with that, I say we'll go on to our next gear review is our next section. And so, Sean, you've been doing kind of gear review for us.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to highlight that we haven't talked about already?
On our stuff, I sent you, I don't know if you got the video on a new box. I mean, I don't know if you want to pull that up or if you're planning or not, but, I think, our big focus really is cargo solutions. We started off with a rack, kind of a universal truck bed rack, and that helped us develop our Discovery rack, which is a Overland purpose-built rack. We start off with kind of some basic cargo boxes, and now we've got a complete solution in cargo management. So I would just encourage you guys to go to the show, go to our website, take a look at the cargo's management section, and you'll see kind of everything we're doing, from bed racks to new dry boxes, and camp kitchens now, and everything in between.
Okay, I'm sorry, but you just rung my bell. Camp kitchens. What are we talking about?
Well, that was what I was showing you.
So we
that's
missed
a
that
video. You got, that video was sent to you that had, I have one. I don't know if it's open. You want me to take you guys into?
If you can live demo, please live demo.
Yeah, this is great.
Because I've been designing my own camp kitchen, and I would love to see what you guys come up with, because R&D is hard work.
Yeah, so this is our showroom. I don't know if you can see all of that, but so I'm going to try to set this bad boy here. Let's see if you get, you should be able to get that. Okay, cool. So
Take my money.
Jack is pulling his credit card out now.
No, oh, did the wrong stuff. Anyways, this, there you go. So it's got legs that actually drop down. So if you're unstable, I don't know if you can see that or not, but the legs kind of pop up. It's got a little cleaning tub in here as
Right
well. So
on.
you can clean stuff. This slides out. So if you want to put your refrigerator on top of this as well.
How deep is that drawer? How far back?
I think it's like 28 inches or 30 inches. I don't know if you can.
Nice.
Is that the same dimensions as the drawer system?
No, the drawer system, this is what
Like
you got.
30 inches, right?
Yeah, I think that's longer. I'm sorry. So this is what you have now, right?
Yeah, that's what
So
I have
you
in
have-
mind.
So you have one of these. And so so this is a little bigger, a little longer, and a lot wider.
Yeah, it's taller,
Awesome.
Yeah.
wider, but so this longer drawer, it looked like it was deeper. Is that just
It is
because of
deeper.
the
Yeah,
Okay,
it
yeah.
is deeper. Yeah.
so is that
it
like
is.
50 inches, 40 inches?
I think it's like I thought it was 28, but I could be wrong. I can get the dimensions. I don't think this is up on our site as of yet.
Yeah,
so this
it's
was-
not because I would have found it.
This is what we had at SEMA, and this is the video I sent you.
Wow.
Uh,
Awesome.
This is
yeah.
awesome.
So, and this thing right here, I don't know if you could see that, but that's our Komodo. Trying to get the camera there.
Right on.
That's the probably doesn't do it justice, but it's got a gas burner on one side. It's got a rocket box on the other. It all collapses in that little cargo section in the center. It's a camp kitchen as well.
Wow.
So that one,
This is
super cool.
legit. This is
Yeah.
legit because that's standalone. It doesn't have to get mounted. You can take it out.
Yeah. Very cool.
yeah, you can take it out. It all collapses. I mean, it literally is. I'm trying to get that, and if I can throw that up there. So
Wow. Oh, I see. Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, and it literally is this section. Everything folds up, and when it's all said and done.
That is so awesome. So that's like the coolest chuck box. That is awesome.
And then we got these dry boxes as well. So this
Yeah.
this camp kitchen's shipping in the next 2 or 3 weeks. These dry boxes are shipping the next couple of weeks. Our bags, the display still needs to be a little work, but you can kind of get an idea of the
Mhm.
bags and all the other stuff.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can definitely call me a fanboy. This is right up my lane. I love all of this stuff. It's definitely dangerous.
Well, we're we're trying to build. I think that's the one thing that we are able to do. I think today is just kind of get our designs figured out and get our products that we want to come to market with and get them done reasonably effectively.
Absolutely.
Makes sense. Yeah. Having a system, like stuff that's designed to work together. I mean, like Jack was mentioning, where like you're trying to make an ARB work with somebody else's rooftop tent or awning, like it's a hassle. And having stuff that's designed to work together, it's way easier.
It is way easier. Yeah, we solved all the problems, answered all the questions, and that's probably 90% of our tech calls is, will this work with this? How do you mount this to this? I mean, and so we're always trying to learn more and more we can about our competition or other guys in this category and space so that we can help answer some of these questions.
Very nice. Very nice.
Well, that's really cool. Really glad to see all the gear, and that felt like Christmas getting to see everything that's coming soon.
Yeah, I think I'm writing an emergency update to Santa. There's been
There
some
you go.
changes, man. There's a lot of stuff that I need to get here.
Absolutely.
Well, like I said, we're this is kind of our first phase, so to speak. This is our second full year of business, so we've been able to do a lot the last couple of years. We've got a good team, and we're going to continue to try to address gaps and solutions that need to be addressed out there for anybody in the space. So,
Well, that's awesome. One of the things that we were going to talk about with our gear was something that Phil's been working on.
Mhm. Yeah, so mentioned that I'm driving a excursion, and one of the big problems with these is the factory roof racks lay on the roof,
right.
like literally touch the roof, and so there's no way to do anything. And so a couple of
Right.
guys came up with using Unistrut, which I've been running now, and it's pretty easy to put together, and then gives you that channel, like you were saying, with the L brackets where you can mount stuff in. And
Right.
but I think Jack is slowly talking me into using like 80/20 and rebuilding it. Just to
Absolutely.
get something to be able to mount stuff. Because I mean, yeah, like it's not like a Forerunner or Raptor. Nobody wheels excursions. Nobody does
Yeah.
much. So you always have to figure out what are you doing yourself to figure out how to mount all the cool stuff.
Yeah, I think the excursion is probably more of an overland rig than a
Yeah.
wheeling
Yeah.
rig. You know what I mean? And so there's probably some areas that you could go to, but I think it's you can pack pretty much anything you want in that thing and be gone.
Exactly.
Yeah, is it diesel or gas?
Mine's gas.
Okay, V10, big.
Exactly. Yeah, the V10's a fun motor, and guys are starting to figure out tweaks you can do to those. I mean, no one pays attention to them, but there's a lot of stuff that Ford left room on the table with that motor. So there's things to do.
Cool.
Absolutely. All right. Well, the next thing we're going to talk about is maybe something OVS can walk their way into eventually. But for now, we're looking at getting these solutions from Expedition Essentials. And so this is a specifically designed for the Toyota 4Runner. That's my Toyota 4Runner. And it's called their dash mount, powered accessory mount, blah, 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 right? So I'll leave links for it on the show, but it is a really great mounting solution for if you want to get your radio up there, or if you want to get your phone up there, or if you want to put a GoPro up there. Every time I wheel, I've got a GoPro and my iPhone up there so that I can get 2 shots. And when I'm feeling like it, I'll even throw an iPad up there because it's got a really decent mounting solution. And then you've got power right there. So really great solution. It's very tailored to the Toyota 4Runner. They also have other options for other vehicles, but definitely looks like something that OVS could look into. I bet you guys would have a great solution with that.
Yeah. Listen, I've looked into actually dash mount solutions. Forget who's out there right now, but they do a really, really good job. They
RAM mounts?
not the RAM mount, but they use the RAM mounts for their solutions. There was a company, I think on the new Jeeps, they went to an aluminum extrusion, and it allows you to adjust. And I was like super impressed with that. I have mounts on my Raptor. I use Scosche, which they're plastic, but they go front to back from the windshield back. And but I do the same thing. I have my phone on one side, my iPad on the other, so I can get any extra GPS stuff that I want to mess with. But
cool. I love having the option to get all of my stuff up on the dash there. It's really nice. You've got enough space to run whatever you need to run. I hate having my radio where it gets dangled down, and sometimes I drop it in the center console and you're looking for it when you need to make a call. Oh, we got somebody coming, there's somebody up on the trail. So it's nice to just get all of that locked in and up on spot and nice and easy to manage.
Yeah, that looks like a nice system for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, that one's very purpose built. So it's specific to my vehicle, but not to my vehicle, but specific to 4Runners. There's a lot of people out there wheeling 4Runners. So if you're interested in that, you can take a look. But yeah.
Yeah, there's a ton of Forerunner guys. Whoop, am I moving this the right way? There you go. Cool.
Oh yeah.
Every
That-
third friend of mine into overlanding has a Forerunner. Like it's
Yeah.
weird.
when I gave up my Tundra, it was this conversation that my wife had with me. She's like, I want to get a new Forerunner. And I was like, okay. And she's like, do you want my old one? And I'm like, yes, I will take your old Forerunner. I will totally
button.
take your old Forerunner. Yeah, that
Good
was easy,
idea. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
That's-
I know there's a million pieces of accessories out there, kit for it. Everybody designed something for it. So that was a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, that's cool.
But
They are we had where we work is in Santa Fe Springs, California. And if anybody's played Monopoly, Santa Fe is the capital of railroad, and we have probably one of the biggest hubs right outside the port of LA. And I mean, in front of us we have train track. We had 3 wide, and it's just a pain in the butt because you're always dealing with them. But anyway, long story short, right by our train tracks, the lady that worked for me, our marketing girl, was in a Forerunner, brand new one, and got T-boned and rolled the vehicle. And I was unbelievably impressed how she was able to walk away with a couple of little bruises. That thing took it, and all the airbags are deployed, windows are cracked. I mean, but it was a beast. Getting T-boned in the middle of an intersection enough to roll your vehicle and walk away, I was thoroughly impressed.
yeah, safety is definitely a big strong point for them. I did want to say we did have somebody asking questions in the channel. They wanted to know what the ball joints were. Those ball joints are ram mounts. So like what Sean had said, ram mounts is one of the solutions that are out there that a lot of people are using, especially to modify other solutions. So the Expedition Essentials was using ram mounts. They encourage that. Chris also says his dash mount solution involves a drill and some kydex. So more power to you, Chris. You can drill all the holes you want.
I think that's my solution as well, with again the completely unsupported excursion.
Absolutely. We had another question also asking, what was the price on the Camp Kitchen drawer?
It is $999. And I think we're going to be doing an introductory special, $100 off. But that's all marine grade stainless steel, 6061 aluminum, 2 burners, rocket box, aluminum channel frame. It's really,
That's
a
awesome.
lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's cool. It's cool. You'll have a lifetime warranty on it. You won't have any rust problems. It is something that I always suffer coming from my previous life on putting products, figuring out the price. You know what I mean? When I was running Smittybilt, my main goal was I need it for $99. That's all I need to worry about. Is let's get it to 99. That'll make our Jeep customers happy. That's all we care about. And so when I started this company, I was pushing the envelope, not because I was trying to get more money, but the products that I was selling were a lot more, right? And so the 270 awning, for example, I'm like, man, I love this product. I think we've nailed it. We've got everything covered, but I'm not sure someone's going to spend, at the time, I think it was $800 or not $850 on this. I'm not sure. I feel like that was, I feel like I was betraying my customer by trying to offer something at that high of a price point. Sure enough, man, that started selling, and it sells. I probably sell those 30 to 1 over a standard 6-foot awning. It's crazy.
Yeah. And I think that people like you guys, manufacturers like you guys, have really driven the market in a different direction, because if you would have taken a look at Amazon 3 years ago and looked at a square awning, you would have seen all of those prices being what your 270 is at now.
Yeah.
And now you can get on Amazon, you can now get a square awning for $150, $150.
Right.
And and you were seeing ARB throw them out there for $900 all the time.
Yeah.
So you guys are really driving the market in the right direction. We appreciate it as the consumers, people who have to spend the money. Thank you for driving costs down.
I guess that's some of the feedback is, especially the awning. Someone always says, hey, it's the best awning for the money, because if not to replace it, you're spending $1,500 or more on it. So, I am always trying to make sure I can get that customer the best product for the best price. And so, getting up into these price points scare me a little bit, but it's good products, good quality. We're obviously supporting it 100%, and so continue to focus on that and make sure the customer's experience is as good as it possibly can be.
Awesome. I did want to ask, when did you guys open doors? When did the first product start rolling out?
We technically started in 2019, the back half of 2019. The first half was kind of planning and kind of building the product and R&Ding the product and all the other stuff. And so we had, a partial sales year in 2019. 2020 was our first full year in business, and this is our second full year of business.
Well, everything was hard for everybody else, but I imagine for you guys, you were pushing stuff out the door as quick as you could, right? Just keeping stuff in stock was difficult.
We couldn't, with the timing of COVID, when we started our company, everybody could only go camping. And then so it just like all of a sudden, our goal when I started this business was just to be considered in the conversation. So if you're going to think about a rooftop tent, there's a lot of options. You haven't heard of me yet. How do I get considered in that conversation? And the same thing with the awnings. And then COVID hit, and it was the only thing you could do is go camping. You can only go outdoors, right? You couldn't do anything else. You couldn't travel. You couldn't go to Disneyland. You couldn't go to the movies. You couldn't see a sporting event. You couldn't go to Europe. You couldn't go to Mexico. You couldn't do anything. And so these guys, everybody went camping, and luckily for us, it was a good launching point for us. Because that first year, we ended up getting an OE Ford contract. We have some big partners like Bass Pro, Lowe's, and some other companies that are, invested in our brand. And we're working on expanding. And, we're all over the place with our off-road guys, from like an off-road warehouse out of San Diego to a desert rat which you guys are familiar with, out of Arizona.
Sure.
And a Quadratech, and then you can buy it on Amazon. So I wasn't planning on plugging my customers, but
there you go.
They will. Thank you for letting me do that.
Yeah, of course.
No, absolutely. One thing I wanted to ask was, as a customer who shops on Amazon a lot, are we going to be able to get the Mamba through Amazon?
Yeah. You'll be able to get that. The Mamba, and I didn't show you guys. I have our production one actually in our showroom. It's nothing like what you see on the website. So it's a gray body, kind of matching all of our stuff. So if you wanted to get something to match your awning, it's got green trim, and it's about 2 inches wider than the traditional aluminum clamshell designs. And we did that so you can keep your bedding. Your number one issue with those right now is keeping your bedding in these clamshell designs. So this will allow you to keep some bedding in there, and be able to shut it. So
what depth of mattress can I put in there? This is the clincher.
You can go up to a 3-inch. You probably put a 4. You'll have the space. It's just a matter of what you do with your bedding.
If I don't have bedding and all I have is mattress, how big of a mattress can I put in? Because this is so key. Because
you're going to be able to put. You could probably put a 4-inch mattress in it. Right now, there's a 2.5 in there with a 1-inch condensation mat. I'm trying to walk over here right now. I don't know if you guys could see this, but right now, yeah. So we got a 2.5. Can you see that mattress? Yes,
we can see it. Yep.
2.5-inch mattress plus this 1-inch condensation mat already built into the system.
Awesome.
So you're going to have plenty of comfort. So if you had to replace it, then you would be able to do a 3.5 to 4-inch mattress if you needed to.
That's awesome. It's not that I would have to replace it. I'm a side sleeper, and I'm on my face sleeper, and I'm moving in my sleeper. So I have had a real rough time. I'm on a Thule right now, and I'm looking to go into a clamshell, and I'm looking to go into a larger mattress.
Got it.
So my
So
wife has
there's
already been messaging and saying stay out of the store.
so this is a different mattress than what you normally see. Like our soft clamshell or our soft rooftop tents is a different foam than what you would normally get. So this is kind of a whole different animal. It's a more dense foam. Like our current density, they rate them, our current one's 25. We're actually evolving it up to 30. This new one, I don't know what the density, I think it's a little bit more, it's a little stiffer, but you have that condensation mat that helps underneath it as well. So it's just different. It's a more plush system. This is when you look at this compared to most, it's just got a lot of details, and that's, I think, it's really, everybody's got their own kind of uniqueness to their tents, and it really boils down to that recipe of stuff. We start off with our soft side and added diamond plate to the bottom because we felt that was a super important function. We wanted to go wider on our clamshell. We wanted to include crossbars and a different mounting system, and just adding a lot of things that I think are important to guys that are going to be using it from a day-to-day basis versus putting a sticker on the top of it and saying we got the nicest whatever. So
Yep. Well, you definitely speak my language. I am very interested. I'm currently on the fence between building a square back trailer that has
Yep.
a 6-inch mattress in it.
Yep,
If I could
yep,
throw
yep.
a 2-inch memory foam on top of what you guys have, that might be a win for me. So
Yeah.
when can I look at this in person? Where will you guys be next?
It's a good question. We're actually going to Vegas in January for an event. One of our customers is taking down the Apex Center, which I'm not sure if you're familiar with. One of our wholesalers, Keystone, I'm going to give them another plug. Keystone, which is a distributor. They want us to, we have a lot of RV customers, believe it or not. We do a lot of OE trailer supplier stuff. So these adventure trailers that you're making one, you can go, you're making one because you don't want to spend 75 grand on a Taj Mahal one or whatever. And I don't blame you. But Intech, which is one of my customers, they make a trailer. I'm not sure what the retail is. It's probably 30 grand, but they put our awnings on them. And so we have
Awesome.
We have a bunch of customers that do that. And so I really didn't expect to be in the RV kind of business.
Sure.
At least the kind of the fringe of where we're at, but it's totally cool because it's off-road. Everybody's buying these things, and there's guys that are making great products out there that we've been that are using our stuff. And so they'll buy a box and put our awning on, or buy a box and put our awning and tents on it. So anyway, so I'm going to be at an RV show at the Apex, which is the Venetian Convention Center, the last week of January. And then I think we're going to be in Texas for a truck accessory or truck distributor show. And then I think all the shows start. So we're going to be at Overland Expo, the new one in Oregon, which I haven't talked to them about, but they just announced that. And they've got the one out by you that will be at. They moved the date back, and we're actually trying to get our event calendar kind of up and running now. But probably be at King of the Hammers as well. So if anybody from SoCal is going to be there, that's kind of our jam, so to speak. And then wherever else we can be. We were actually in Arizona this past weekend.
I saw that.
Yeah, for Desert Rat, they had
Missed you guys.
So they had a
Coffee and
cruisers or something. Yeah. So we have a Tacoma, so we had our Tacoma and our guy that went out there and help support those guys. So we're just trying to be wherever we can to support our customers.
That's really great. Well, Sean, we want to thank you so much for being so gracious with your time. I know you got a lot going on. It takes a lot to run a show like you guys do and putting out so many products that we're all using. And we just really appreciate you being gracious. And we'd love to have you back anytime you've got some new products to talk about or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, listen, I appreciate it as well. You know, you hit the big times when someone's asking to do podcasts. So we are super excited to be involved with it. And, and I do appreciate it. The fact that you've experienced with the parts and you're coming from a perspective that you're happy, and those are the kinds of things that we want to hear. Manufacturers like to hear feedback, good or bad, so that we can, continue to focus on what's good, try to address things that are bad. So any feedback is better than none. So we appreciate that as well. So thank you for that. And thank you for having me on here. And I'd love to continue to help what I can do for you guys on your journey to taking over Rogan's spot,
We're trying.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Well, I always say, when I was in the wheel business, ProComp wheel, we had ProComp wheel and LRG, and we sold, all I cared at the time was I just want to sell one lug nut at a time. Right. And so all I cared about was just getting my lug nuts in. And then once I get my lug nut in, I can get my wheel in. And once I get my wheel in, I can get my tire in. And once I get my tire in, I can get my suspension going. That's kind of that strategy. And so
Sure.
Same thing, with, I guess, podcasts. All you need is that one podcast guy, and then you just keep going and getting that second and third and fourth. And so I'm glad to help and be part of it. And I appreciate you reaching out to me. And we're going to do what we can to help grow together in the future.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Thanks again. Thanks so much, Sean. And we'll see you guys next time. And we appreciate all of you guys joining in and asking questions online. We really appreciate it. So thanks very much.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for listening. Next time, check us out on the show. If you want to hear more about what we've got going on, head over to discord.gg/OverlandDC. Or an easier way to find us is just to go to www.overlanddc.com.
See you guys there.